invited to these. So but I really wanted to talk about this issue because it's definitely held a place in my heart for a while. Yemen, I've been meaning to talk about what's going on in Yemen for quite some time now, but I haven't been given the opportunity to do so. But let's be real. Most Americans don't really know what's going on in Yemen. And the only reason they know Yemen is because Chandler tried to escape Janice and said that he was going to move to Yemen. For those of you that got that reference, you are elite. It's a Friends reference. For those of you that don't know, go watch the show. But what a lot of people don't know about Yemen, besides it being a place that Chandler escaped, is that it's one of the poorest nations in the entire world. I'm talking like poorer than a lot of African nations, South American, Central American nations. It is up there, the poorest. And there's not a lot of resources flowing into the nation itself because there's been this massive civil war that's been happening. And the modern origins of the Civil War kind of start from 2011, where there was this unsuccessful transition of power between a couple of presidents. There's former President Saleh, who was who was transitioning the power to President Hadi, and out of spite, there was just a lot of anger going on within Yemen at the time, and there was this movement formed called the Houthi movement, and they gained a lot of traction because leadership in the country was super unstable. And so eventually the Houthis were able to gain some military power and take over, and they took control of the capital, which is called Sana'a, which is actually a really beautiful name. I like the name of the capital. Then after that, there was like the Saudis and a coalition of some Yemeni fighters that they were able to gather, struck a counterattack and tried to install the functioning government back into the capital. They did it pretty effectively, but they got involved in this huge conflict because the Houthis are fighting back and they're pretty strong. And it's led to this whole civil war. The Saudi officials thought when they started their coalition, we'd just be in there a couple of weeks, make the Houthis surrender and move on. But it's been 6 years. The fact is, the reason the Saudis are involved is because this whole thing is a war on oil, essentially. And the coalition has had support from the US and the UK. Why? Because it revolves around oil. And you know how America is when it comes to oil. This war in Yemen is being fought over that one resource. That's what it comes down to. And it's cost a lot of things. And we're going to get into the human impact in a second. But I just want to get through the history real quick, because former President Saleh was killed during the war, and President Hadi is basically remote working and ruling the country, quote unquote, ruling the country from Saudi Arabia, which is pretty weird. Okay. So the Houthis have basically began taking more and more control again, and they're even starting to bomb Saudi Arabia. So they're basically this is turning into a multi-country war at this point. But the Houthis want an independent country. That's their goal. They want their own independent country. They had an independent country way back from 1967 to 1990 called South Yemen, and they want that back, I guess. And the UN and other international organizations have been urging for a ceasefire for years, but it's looked less and less likely as the war has continued to go on. And Joe Biden in 2021 for America took out the designation of the Houthis as terrorists, and that Trump had put into place, and basically ended support for the Saudis because he realized, why are we supporting the Saudis when they don't align with our values at all? But that's America, because when we fight over oil, we just align with anybody. That's what happens. But the thing is, that's historical stuff of what's happening. The human loss of what's going on in Yemen is equivalent to that of World War II for a lot of countries, okay? Because as of December of 2021, the death toll of what's going on in Yemen is over 377,000 people. 377,000 people. Let's put some perspective into that. The amount of people killed due to the coronavirus throughout the world is only 87,386 people. In Yemen, 377,000 people have died over the course of 6 years. What's happening in Yemen right now is by far the biggest humanitarian crisis in the world, and one of the biggest of all time. But I wanted to share with you something about an Uber driver that I had, who was from Yemen. He's a Yemeni refugee who's here in America. He immigrated here, I believe, in 2015 or 2016. We're talking about what's going on in Yemen. And this is a paraphrased version of what he told me. He said this, and I thought it really rang true, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this. He said, they don't give a fuck about us. America, Yemen, no one cares. Half the fucking country's dead, but they still don't do anything. That's why I left. I had no choice. You want a voice of someone who's directly impacted by what's going on? Listen to this guy. Listen to him. But here's the thing. Humanitarian-wise, here's what's happening. 131,000 out of the 230,000 officially reported deaths are related to food, health services, lack of health services, and general lack of infrastructure in general. About 71% of the population is in humanitarian need or needs to be protected. That's an exorbitantly high number for those of you that it isn't registering. Many of the people in Yemen are experiencing famine-like conditions. Many children are malnourished. They don't have enough food. One of two people in Yemen don't have access to clean water. And to top all of this off, most healthcare facilities in the country, I believe it's closer to about 80% of healthcare facilities in the country, are shut down because of the war, or the healthcare workers aren't adequately trained to deal with all of this, or the ones that are actually adequately trained haven't been paid in years. And so they're doing this on a purely volunteer basis. So after all of this civil war is going on during a worldwide pandemic that we were all worried about. And the thing is, in Yemen, the pandemic numbers aren't exactly known to the full extent because the Houthi government, which is like one of the governments that's trying to, take over, is spreading a lot of COVID disinformation because they don't believe in COVID. And so that whole thing is not going. So in this war, the thing is, there's no good guy. There's no good guy that we should support because both of them are terrible. They're both killing each other, and 377,000 lives are lost. That's the thing that's getting lost in this. There's no good guy to support in the civil war. We just need to stop this fucking war. It's awful. Look what it's doing to people. And credit to Angelina Jolie. We talked about her a little earlier. She traveled over to Yemen, and she's made this issue kind of pop up in American mainstream media for the last couple days, which is amazing. I really do credit her because she does deserve that credit. And she's going out there to help and do what she can because there are a lot of people who frankly don't give a shit. There are people who just share infographics from the comfort of their own home in Los Angeles. But she risked her life. She's in Yemen right now. So good for her. She's doing what a lot of people wouldn't do. And mainstream media doesn't cover Yemen at all. So I just thought I need to do my job and educate people that there's this whole civil war going on in Yemen and so many people are being affected, and it really touched my heart, to be honest. And I want people to know about it because I hope that there continues to be coverage. I hope that Angelina has made her way out there and she just continues to spread the message of what is going on here because it is awful. It is absolutely awful. But yeah, hardly anyone talks about it in the media. The situation's getting worse. And I was thinking to myself, dude, let's do something. Let's do something, right? Because at least I should, be sitting here and doing some action. I can't go to Yemen now. I don't have the clout. I don't have the power, any of that. But I want to do something. So I decided every share that anything related to Yemen gets on TikTok, every tag I get, basically every tag I get. So tag me on Instagram, tag me on Twitter, every tag that I get, and you share a video of mine related to Yemen, whether it be the historical context, whether it be any of it, I'll donate 50 cents to Save the Children. So I checked Save the Children. I know we did a whole topic on celebrity philanthropy. I checked it. It's a very well-known charity throughout the world, and they help with all sorts of humanitarian crises throughout the world, not just Yemen, but they help the children, and most importantly. And in Yemen, they're helping the children, and they're helping them get warm, and they're helping them get food and water and all these basic needs. And this issue honestly did touch my heart, and I genuinely mean that. So if you share this video, you put at the Changavi Show on Twitter, on I'm not on Facebook, but on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, you tag me, you share my video, I will donate 50 cents in your name. I would donate 50 cents to Save the Children because this issue is very, very important to me. And when I think of the Middle East personally, I think of a place that's so rich with religious history, so rich with diversity and culture. But America and the media has made it seem like it's the worst fucking place in the world. When in reality, the Middle East is amongst one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth. It truly is, in its culture, in its people, and everything related to the whole situation, and everything related to their whole region. It's absolutely gorgeous. But there are issues. And the kids, man. I mean, you just look at some of the pictures from Yemen. You can't even imagine it. We live in such an amazing lives here in first world countries. I get to sit here and podcast at 8:30 in the morning. People wake up at 8:30 in the morning in Yemen and try not to die that day. And that's a reality. We forget. We have these moments of absolute gratitude, and it's like, holy crap. It all comes full circle. And so I thought this would be a good way to do something. I promise I'm not doing this for clicks. I really, 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 really want to emphasize that. I'm not trying to be a fucking clickbaity influencer. I don't care if this gets 2 views. I don't care if it gets 1 share. I'll donate $1. I don't care. I'll probably donate a little more because I want to. I want you guys to just share this. Because I want people to know what's fucking going on here. Okay? I don't want this to just be another issue that gets swept up under the rug. And I promise I'm not doing this for clicks. I promise I'm not doing this for clout. I promise that I am genuinely doing this because from the bottom of my heart, I care about this issue. And I really, 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 really care. And I just hope to invest, hopefully, in the future of humanity and the future of just making sure that people are okay, because I think it's our job as fellow humans to make sure that we're at least able to live properly. I think that should just be a goal of ours, personally speaking. But those are the 5 topics. Or sorry, I did 4. I did 4 topics. There's one more topic that I had, but I'll do it on a little bonus show is what I've decided. That's what I really wanted to talk about today. 50 minutes. I know it was a little short of a show, but I hope we dived really in depth into these topics. And again, I just want to emphasize, you share any video of mine about Yemen, whether it be the YouTube video, the TikTok video, just tag me. I will put 50 cents down. And I wish it was more. I wish it was like $1. You know what? Fuck it. Let's make it $1. You share this video, I will donate $1 in your name. To Save the Children, which is an incredible foundation that does a lot of great work in Yemen with the children and with the kids. You share any video of mine, YouTube, Instagram, whatever social media platform it may be, I will donate $1 in your name. And that's a promise from me. And you can follow up on that with me. I will, because what's going on in Yemen is just an absolute travesty, and we need to talk about it more. That needs to get into the conversation.